السؤال: العجوز التي لا تستطيع الصيام لمرض وغيره ماذا يجب عليها؟ الجواب: عجوز أو شيخ كبير أو مريض لا يرجى برؤه إذا لم يستطع الصيام فإنه يتصدق عن كل يوم بإطعام مسكين. ذكروا أن أنس بن مالك رضي الله عنه لما تجاوز 100 سنة كان لا يستطيع الصوم، فكان إذا دخل رمضان جمع 30 مسكينا فعشاهم في أول ليلة من رمضان، اكتفى بذلك عن إطعام 30 مسكين. كذا. Question says, there's an old woman who can't fast because she's sickly or other reasons. She's old and she can't fast. What does she do? What is she to do? Answer says, an old woman or an old man or someone who is terminally ill, chronically ill, an illness and a sickness that in most cases will not go away, those who cannot fast because of these 3 reasons or 2 reasons, then every day they must feed one poor person. Yatasaddaqu. They're to give charity to feed a poor person for every missed day. Fatwa then says, it's mentioned that Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu, when he turned 100, he couldn't fast anymore. So the first day in the first night of Ramadan, he would gather 30 poor people and feed them all at once. He would feed 30 people all at once, and that would be enough from every single day. This fatwa was given by Sheikh Abdullah ibn Abdurrahman al-Jibreen, may Allah have mercy upon his soul. And a few things to pay attention to. Just last night, a brother asked me about him being ill with diabetes, and a doctor told him that he can't fast. Don't fast, take the medicine. So he asked me about this, and I believe the brother was either from Morocco or Algeria, maybe even Libya, but perhaps Morocco, from his accent. So I told him, I said to him, listen to the doctor. He says, she's a kafira, she's not a Muslim doctor. So therefore I take the pills, even when I'm fasted, and I can keep fasting. And I told him, no, you can't take pills and fast. If you take pills and fast, you've broken your fast. No discussion, hands down. You swallow a pill, you have broken your fast. So he said, no, you don't understand what I'm saying to you. First and foremost, the doctors are not Muslim. And secondly, I take the pills, but I don't eat. I said, you cannot fast if you took those pills, and you should take the advice of the doctor, even if she's a non-Muslim. Why am I bringing this up pertaining to this question? There are many modern day applications to these ancient rulings. People were sick in the past. The Quran clearly talks about sickness, but there are modern day applications, Muslims living as minorities. And what is the ruling on a Muslim taking the statement of a non-Muslim to avoid worship? Is that permissible? If you look at what the scholars of Islam say, they clearly stipulate, many of them, is that the doctor has to be Muslim, number 1, and it has to be 2 trustworthy doctors. It cannot be 1, it should not be 1, and they're supposed to be righteous Muslims. So here, it's only 1. She says a female, and she's a non-Muslim. Obviously 1 woman, 2 men is even what? Zadatina billatan. It makes the clay even more moist, as the Arabs say. Putting bridge under the water. Putting bridge under the water, adding fuel to the fire. So I said to him, well, diabetes is well known. The harm of diabetes, if you don't take your medicine, if you don't, do what you need to do, it's well known to Muslim and non-Muslim. It's not like this non-Muslim lady is just telling you something because she doesn't want you to fast. I want to mess up your worship. I want to interfere with your worship because you're a Muslim and I'm a Christian. It's well known. So the moral of the story is, there are different types of people who are sick, and there are different levels of sickness. And Islam, alhamdulillah, has taken into consideration all types and all levels. So no one can come along and say Islam is a religion that's harsh and intolerant, and it's mean, and it's cruel, and it's extreme. Islam takes into consideration the human being's ups and downs. So if it's a temporary sickness, you are not allowed to feed people. you're not allowed to pay. You must make up the days. So you broke your leg, you broke your ankle, you fractured, you tore your ACL, you have a stomach flu, you're really, really sick, you couldn't fast for 4 days, whatever, you have to make it up after Ramadan. As far as the illness that in most cases won't go away. Allah can cure a person, but in most cases, a person has cancer, the chances of it, and even if he's healed and he gets rid of it, his body is going to be relatively high. So a terminal illness, there is no making up the days. And the only thing that they have to do is feed a poor person. Does a poor person have to be a Muslim, or can it be a non-Muslim? They should be Muslim. Can it be a non-Muslim? If you can't find a Muslim. What if a person says, I live in an area and there are no poor Muslims? Everybody is affluent. So therefore, I'm sending my money overseas to a less fortunate country or underdeveloped country. Is that correct or incorrect? Correct. That's the best alternative. What you say? No, why not? Well, mines aren't. All my relatives, lawyers, doctors, white-collar professionals. Then what? Send it overseas, right?
Whoever's in charge, that's it. To them.
Is that the best option? Is that the best alternative?
I can buy food.
Or how about instead of overseas in a different continent, maybe I can go to a different city or different neighborhood. There are no poor Muslims here in this neighborhood. The next neighborhood, there will be what? Poor Muslims. Or the next state. So there lies no doubt sending money overseas to Muslims who are in need, that's a good thing. We don't differ on that. But the people who are closest to you deserve it more. And some scholars, they say that the zakah and the sadaqah has to be delivered within your locale. فَأَخْبِرْهُمْ أَنَّ اللَّهَ فَرَضَ عَلَيْهِمْ صَدَقَةً تُؤْخَذُ مِنْ أَغْنِيَائِهِمْ فَتُرَدُّ فِي أَوْ عَلَى فُقَرَائِهِمْ. Taken from the rich, given to their poor. It doesn't say fuqara and masakin. Right? Like the other verses in Hadith say, fuqara, it says fuqara'ihim, they're poor. So some scholars say that zakat must be paid locally, and sadaqah must be paid locally. Kafara, it'am must be done what? Locally. So if you can't find poor or needy Muslims in your locale, I'm sure a hop, skip, and a jump you'll find in another neighborhood, or maybe even in another state. And then obviously some will argue and say that the people overseas are in a greater need than those in the United States. A poor person in America is not like a poor person in a war-torn country. That's give or take. Moral of the story is temporary sickness, you have to make up the day. You cannot just pay. Terminally ill, constantly ill, that is when you pay. We also benefit from this fatwa. He's basing off of the athar of Anas, is that you don't have to spread it out, and it can be done in one day or one night, such as a shelter or an orphanage, right? In which for sure you have 30 poor people, you can do what? One day, 20, وهكذا. Wallahu alam. Naam, Sheikh. Can you do iftar dinner for 30 days? Yes, if they're poor. They have to be poor. You cannot provide iftar for people that are wealthy or stable. It's invalid. So for argument's sake, if I missed a month, if I have cancer or diabetes or whatever illness that's terminal, I cannot provide iftar for the masjid. That is not enough. Because I got Talib, I got Salih, and I have Ahmed. He's making 7-8 figures a year. I feed him. Now, Harun may be poor, Sean may be poor, this brother may be poor, Nihyan, he may be miskeen, but among the other brothers in the masjid, there are people who are not miskeen. So that will be invalid. They have to be miskeen, they have to be poor. You cannot feed someone who's established, let alone wealthy. Wallahu a'lam. Fadl Salih.
What are the conditions to make a person poor?
What are the conditions to make a person poor? They don't have half of their basic needs, one may say. There are times in which they're looking for basic needs. They're still in search of basic needs. And obviously that could be broad, but it's not the same as you owe this, you have this thing, but you have plenty of food. You have a place to shelter you. You have clothes for tomorrow. It may not be the most expensive brand name clothes, but you have what you need. All right? Versus a person who says, I don't know where I'm going to eat tomorrow. A woman whose poor says, I need these sanitary things. I don't have them. Well, heck of that. So a poor person is going to be a person who doesn't have at least than half of what he needs. And then of course it's based off of the country where you are and the culture where you are. So it's going to be relative, huh? Wallahu alam. Wa iyyakum. Fadal. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Person is capable of fasting, but the doctor tells them not to fast. Is it permissible? What's the advice concerning that? It's permissible as long as you're not going to harm yourself. It's permissible to be strong, to go against medical advice if you know in your heart or if you feel confident that I don't have to. So they're telling you, get a C-section, get a C-section, get a C-section. And the woman says, nah. My gut feeling, I'm going to do it the natural way. Are you going against medical advice? Sign the papers. You feel confident and you're willing to be patient, it's permissible. As far as if it's clear, strong, irrefutable, is a danger and a harm upon you seriously, then you should take the advice of the doctor. But the problem comes in a Muslim doctor versus a non-Muslim doctor. Some Muslim and some non-Muslim doctors, they may have a better look of Islam than some Muslim doctors. So you got to look at the doctor. They're narrow-minded to the system, to the book, versus more realistic. But it would be permissible. It would be permissible. Wallahu alam. It wouldn't be haram. And Allah knows best. Khair, inshallah, I believe it's time to stop. Bidnillah. Subhanallah wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.